Hello and welcome to the Evening News for Wednesday, March 19, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, PNC poll proves Jagdeo most formidable candidate for next elections. Teen killed after Tundra slams into tree. Those responsible for Rodney's death will be pardoned. Bushlot residents kill 9-foot anaconda. Several persons air dashed to city after plane crash. And workers down tools at Blairmont Sugar Estate. Now for the news in detail. Former President Bharat Jagdeo would be the most formidable candidate that the opposition parties, a Partnership for National Unity APNU, and the Alliance for Change the AFC could face in any upcoming general elections. This was revealed in a poll conducted by the People's National Congress Reform earlier this month, according to a high-placed source in the latter party. Let's find out more in this report.
Thanks, Avinash. Bharat Jagdeo is the man to beat were he to contest any upcoming general or regional election. This is the primary finding of a poll which was reportedly conducted by the People's National Congress Reform ahead of the upcoming general elections. Evidently worried that the People's Progressive Party would call snap elections in the trail of their controversial stance on a host of issues, the PNC rushed through their polling exercise even as their leaders fanned out outreaches in the PPP strongholds. At the memorial services for the PPP's founder Dr. Chedi Jagannath Babu John in Berbice around the same time, the General Secretary of the PPP, Clement Rohi, had suggested that the elections route may be the only way to break the present political logjam. President Donald Ramotar has also alluded to this possibility. The opposition APNU and AFC parties, which have been taking identical positions on issues such as cutting the budget, even though the courts have ruled this is illegal, voting against the AML CFTF bill, and closing down the sugar industries, on which they later tried to backtrack, on the other hand have been pushing for local government elections. Their poll confirms their suspicions that they would fare very badly at general elections if they were held now, and they would perform marginally better at local government elections, showing broadly similar results to the NACTA poll conducted several weeks before theirs, and which they attempted to discredit. The PNC polls show that in head-to-head contests, the PPPC would obtain an absolute majority of 51% if Bharat Jagdeo were to head the party's ticket. If Donald Ramotar were the candidate, the PPP would still emerge victorious in securing the presidency and executive with 45% of the votes. In the first instance, the APNU would only secure 37% of the vote and the AFC 4%, while in the second, their support would rise marginally to 38% and the AFC to 5%. In both instances, the APNU's presidential candidate identified on the poll was the present leader of the PNC, David Granger. The PNC source that provided this newscast with the polling data said that Granger's faction of the PNC absolutely refused to place Carol Greenwich as a possible candidate on the poll. The two have been locked in a bitter battle for control of the PNC. In the local government elections, the PNC polls show that they would perform much more credibly. One political analyst who was contacted to scrutinize the data said that the Jagdeo factor would appear to pull more of the PPP's traditional voters out of their apathy, which was exhibited at the last elections in any new elections. It is also possible that the opposition's quibbling at the arrangements to treat the former president's recent illness backfired by stimulating some sympathy votes. The analyst speculated that the PNC might have flouted the name of Jagdeo as a candidate, even though he has indicated that he will under no conditions be seeking a third term to discern whether the support for a Ramotar presidency was soft. The results show that this was not significantly so. In light of their findings, the analysts predicted that the opposition will continue to push for local government elections. Those findings by a PNC poll exposed the baseness of the orchestrated campaign by the official opposition and their operatives in the media to vilify Jagdeo and deny the sterling role he played in returning economic stability and security for citizens in Guyana, the analyst said.
In this report, we'll hear now that Minister Robert Persaud has refused to respond to any questions posed by reporters from the Kaicho News. Minister Robert Persaud on Wednesday told this newscast that he will not respond or comment on any questions raised by any Kaicho News' reporter or editor. Persaud was contacted by this newscast for a comment on questions raised by Kaicho News' editor-in-chief Adam Harris regarding the sale of a property. At the People's Progressive Party weekly press conference on Tuesday, the issue of corruption within the public sector arose. Harris had questioned the party's general secretary on the sale of a property by Persaud to a relative. Harris also named the former president Barrett Jagdeo as another public figure who allegedly acquired wealth after assuming public office. But PPPC's general secretary Clement Rohi said that Jagdeo's amassed wealth was accumulated through savings during his working career.
When Barrett Jagdeo came back from Moscow, right? When Barrett Jagdeo came back from Moscow and was looking for a job, he had a difficult time getting a job. Eventually he got a job at the State Planning Secretariat under Mr. Paris. Right. And that's where he actually started out working, earning. He was still a bachelor, he wasn't married. He was still living with his parents. I don't know how much money he was earning, but I assumed that he was saving money. I assumed that he had some savings. Then the PPP came into office. He became the junior finance minister under Asghar Ali, and he was earning money there as well. He still remained a bachelor. He was living with his parents. He obviously was saving. If people could do that and save now, how come Jagdeo couldn't do that and save them? Because he was Jagdeo?
Rohi went on to say that he will not speculate on the financial status of any of his colleagues. He further stated that if persons are in receipt of evidence to say these persons were engaged in wrongdoings, then they should present them.
We said a Jagdeo thief. No, say that. If you want to say that, you say that. You say that Jagdeo stole, who he stole from, what he stole. No, Adam, let's be frank here. If you want to say that Jagdeo built that house as a result of corrupt theft and so on, of whatever the case, you say that.
No, I'm asking you.
No, you can't ask me. I'm not Jagdeo.
No, but
I'm not Jagdeo. I'm Jagdeo's colleague. I'm Jagdeo's comrade. But I will not agree. I will never agree that Jagdeo stole money, Jagdeo engaged in corrupt practices where he siphoned off money from government to build that house. I will never agree to that.
I agree.
And then again, if there's anyone who has evidence, bring the evidence.
Efforts to contact the former president for a comment proved futile. A teenager is dead while 3 others are hospitalized after the vehicle in which he was traveling in slammed into a tree at Road and Rust on the east bank of Essequibo. More in this report.
After a desperate attempt by doctors at Leonora Cottage Hospital to save his life, 14-year-old Ryan Brasinio of Lot 3 Mora Village, East Bank Essequibo, took his last breath last evening following the accident. Those injured are Ronald Chand, 19, Ryan Nandlal, 12, and Mohammed, 12, all of Mora, East Bank Essequibo. Based on reports received, the former student of Parika Salem Community High School was in the tray of a Toyota Tundra bearing registration number GMM 8991 when the driver, who was allegedly under the influence of alcohol, lost control and crashed into a tree. The driver of the car, Ovando Holder, is presently in police custody assisting with investigations. Cynthia Chan, one of the sisters of the dead teenager, explained what occurred.
This vehicle slammed into a tree. Actually, there were some other people on the road who would have died, but he saved them and thought he would save everybody, but he can't save everybody. He tried, but he ran into a tree on the opposite side of the road, and that's when everybody started pitching off from the back of the vehicle. Well, actually, we came back from where we went. We just went for a little drive, and when we was on the way coming back, the driver, I don't know how he accidentally, I don't know if he mashed on the X too much, or I can't really say what really happened in the vehicle. The only thing I recall is when I get up from out of the vehicle, I pitched through the windscreen of the vehicle, and I get up, I see my big brother, he pulling my small brother out from the trench. I just went and helped my brother icy and put him in a car and carried at the hospital. We didn't know what happened to him until we reached there, but the nurse, the doctor there, they really tried with him, because apparently how he fall in the trench, there was a gut in the trench that he hit on the gut, and from the back, and damaged the front. The front apparently, like he lungs and everything inside just mashed up. So he started bleeding through his mouth and his nose and stuff. Couldn't do anything to help him.
Shamla Chan, mother of the dead teenager, said the family had a get-together when she received the dreaded news.
Well, yesterday, after the Pagua, my sister said that we go over by, she got cook.
And we gone over down there, we cook. And all my children, I have 5 children, and they come over there and they eat. And the other driver for the vehicle went on the road. And you know, how the case. And all of them go in the vehicle. The vehicle driver half slow and he gone. And a little boy come and said that there's like an accident with all them children that let we go. So the time my cousin passed the car, I stop. And I jump in the car and I gone. When I gone, I see my baby in the car, lie down hollering. I jump in the car with you and I gone to Cottage Hospital.
The distressed woman further added that the doctors at the medical facility tried their best to save her son's life, but it was too late.
12 doctor lucky, and when I see him put him inside the ambulance, I go with him. I see he start bleeding his nose and his mouth, and they take him out back and they carry in and start to look again. And then I hear that he collapse and I couldn't do nothing else.
The mother said that her son's death is a major blow to the family. She described him as a quiet and helpful child. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
Chairman of the Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry, Sir Richard Cheltenham, says that witnesses coming forward to testify during the inquiry should have no fear, since the terms of reference offer absolute pardon for anyone who may have been involved in the events leading to the death of the political activist. More from Alexis Rodney.
Chairman Cheltenham said the commission yesterday met with the People's Progressive Party, the Guyana Defence Force, the Guyana Police Force, the Guyana Trades Union Congress and the Private Sector Commission, who have all indicated their willingness to work together in the investigation. According to the chairman, the inquiry's terms of reference provides immunity to all persons involved in the assassination of the political leader. He noted too that persons testifying in the inquiry will be allowed the freedom of anonymity.
I quote, all persons should be granted an absolute pardon in respect of or incidental to all acts or things done, including offences committed in connection with or in relation to the death of Dr. Walter Rodney.
Cheltenham said the main purpose of the inquiry is to quell all doubts harbored by the public and offer closure to the Rodney's family. He said too that Guyanese immigrants will be allowed to participate in the inquiry using modern technologies. Cheltenham assured media operatives that the commission will be using every available method to get its work complete.
I want you to rest assured that everyone hearing me, that this commission will go to every reasonable and realistic length to make sure that we get to the bottom of this matter. And every document that is available or can be made available, we will seek to access. Rest assured about that.
The 3-member commission, comprising Jamaican Queen's Counsel Jacqueline Samuels-Brown, Guyanese Trinidadian Senior Counsel C. North Jairam, and Chairman Barbadian Sir Richard Cheltenham, were sworn in on February 25 last to probe the circumstances leading to the death of the co-founder of the Working People's Alliance, who died when a bomb exploded in his lap close to 34 years ago. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party Civic Clement Rohi on Tuesday said that a lot of work needs to be done to prepare citizens for the hosting of any elections in Guyana. Here are details.
At the party's weekly press conference, General Secretary Clement Rohi said the government is not ignoring the calls for local government elections to be held. Rohi stated that a lot of factors will have to be taken into consideration before any decision is taken regarding the hosting of these elections.
There are 2 types of elections that are now in the air. Local government elections and general elections. If you go there, you hear people talking about it. I wouldn't say that society is divided on which one should come first, but there are views out there. And we have to take into consideration all the views. We have to take into consideration our supporters' opinions, our members' opinions. We have to engage in wide consultations. And, you know, this is not a matter that is easily arrived at. It's not a matter that is easily arrived at. I've seen where the chairman of the elections of GCOM has said that they're ready. Well, GCOM may very well be ready, but are the people?
The General Secretary noted that there may not be total unanimity among the people regarding the hosting of the elections. He added that when elections are held under new conditions and persons do not understand the rules, it creates difficulties and confusions for them when they go up to the polls.
All of us would like to have a perfect elections. All of us would like to have elections that are non-controversial. I think that's the dream of every single Guyanese. You know, as those who have been following these preparations of these laws that have been passed would know, these things require a lot of explanation, a lot of public relations. I noticed GCOM had started it just before the Christmas holidays, and then they stopped. You got to keep educating the people all the time. You know, people are not going to spend every day focusing on elections. They focus on bread and butter issues every day. They focus on their jobs every day. They focus on the single parent mothers, focus on so many things every day, so many demands every day.
Meanwhile, Rohi was questioned on whether the party is delaying the elections as a political tool to capture voters as it gears up for the pending elections. He responded in the negative.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Legal Affairs and Attorney General Anil Nandlal has engaged prominent accountant Christopher Ram and Stabrook News in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit over libelous statements published in a newspaper. More in this report.
The Attorney General, through his lawyer, attorney-at-law Sis R. Gunraj, has demanded that the newspaper publish an unreserved apology for the libelous statements made in a letter written by Ram today. According to Nandlal, Christopher Ram purported in his letter, captioned, "It is the President's duty alone to appoint 3 members of the Judicial Service Commission," that he, Nandlal, is, and I quote, "careless about details, cavalier about the Constitution and the law, mischievous and accusatory, irresponsible, unfamiliar with the basic provisions of the Constitutions of Guyana, and guilty of grave dereliction of duty." Unquote. In a press statement, Nandlal said that the allegations made against him are not only libelous, but are reckless and accentuated by malice and have caused him public ridicule and contempt. They have also caused disparage to the offices of the Attorney General and the Ministry of Legal Affairs. Stabrook News and Christopher Ram were given 7 days to reply to the statement. If not, Nandlal threatened, all legal proceedings will be instituted. For the evening news, Alexis Rodney.
More news still ahead. Stay tuned. You're watching the evening news. This is the evening news. Welcome back. President of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce, Clinton Erling, has expressed outrage that there has been little or no progress regarding the work of the 3-man Tax Reform Committee, which was established to overhaul the country's rigid tax regime laws. Details from Svetlana Marshall.
President of Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Clinton Erling, expressed disappointment that 5 years after a tax reform committee was established, the committee has been unable to complete its work. Back in 2009, the 3-man committee was set up by the then President Bharat Jagdeo with the main objective of completing a comprehensive tax review covering almost all tax areas. Erling told the Evening News the revision of taxes in Guyana cannot continue to be dealt with in a piecemeal, fragmented manner.
We were excited when we were elated when the government made the announcement of this committee to investigate the taxes. Our disappointment comes that 2 years later, we don't have the recommendations or a report emanating from that committee. And for various reasons, we were given that some of the committee members were sick, or for other reasons beyond their own control, they couldn't complete the report.
Nevertheless, he said GCCI remains optimistic that a comprehensive holistic tax code review will benefit all tiers of society. Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh in his 2013 budget presentation proposed a reduction in the rate of income tax from 33 1/3% to 30%, a request which was approved by the National Assembly under Section 36 of the Income Tax Act. But this is not enough, Erling said. While some stakeholders have called for the reduction of value-added tax, VAT, which stands at 16%, Erling believes that income tax should be further reduced in addition to corporate taxes.
The implication, obviously, if we just reduce VAT without considering the other taxes will result in a revenue shortfall. How would government or how would the country recoup the losses that would be incurred as a result of reducing VAT? We're in support of maintaining the VAT tax, which is considered an indirect tax. I don't think you should tax people's hard work in terms of things like income taxes. You shouldn't tax creativity in terms of corporations or companies. You start a small business and there's a high corporate tax rate for you. You shouldn't tax those. Things like VAT, most of the main items that the average consumer would need is VAT neutral. It's zero rated already. So most of the purchases on VAT is I call luxury purchases, or purchases you don't necessarily have to make. So tax the VAT, reduce income taxes, reduce corporate taxes.
Over the last decade, the Ghana government has carried out fundamental tax reforms, including the repeal of 6 tax areas, the introduction of value-added tax, the reduction in marginal tax rates for companies, streaming and exemptions. The Finance Ministry believes that these reforms have led to significant increases in revenues, however stands willing to the continuous review of the tax regime. Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
In the courts, a duo was today placed on bail after they appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Magistrate Faith Magusti. Colin Joseph, a conductor aged 24 of Lot 1084 Tugville Housing Scheme in Georgetown, pleaded not guilty to an unlawful wounding charge. It is alleged that on February 16, he unlawfully wounded Sion Jansen. Meanwhile, Jansen, aged 28, also pleaded not guilty after it was alleged that he also assaulted Colin Joseph. Attorney Paul Fongafat told the court it was a simple altercation between the two men and asked that both of them be granted reasonable bail. Bail was granted in a sum of $50,000 for Joseph and $15,000 for Jansen. The duo is expected to make another court appearance on April 9. In this report, we'll hear that staff members of the Medics building, which was completely destroyed by fire early yesterday morning, have been given temporary accommodation.
Some 50 staff members who were stationed at Medics building have been temporarily placed at various locations within the Health Ministry. This is according to Health Minister Dr. Barry Ramsaran. During a telephone interview with this newscast, Minister Ramsaran said that a meeting was held a few hours after the fire, during which the staff were informed of their new placements. Ramsaran also added that he has approached the administration for funding to renovate the locations that the staff have been placed temporarily. He further disclosed that because of the limited space, some staff members were also asked to proceed on any accumulated leave. According to the minister, decades of documents were lost in the fire. He also stated that the entire history of the Medics training program went up in flames. In addition, paperwork from the various departments housed there were also lost. These departments include the Division of Health Science and Education, Environmental Health Unit, the National Food Policy Unit, and the Veterinary Health Unit. The Medics building went up in flames early Tuesday morning while a security guard was reportedly asleep. Wisham Mohammed at Evening News.
A man appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Court today charged for conspiracy to commit a felony before Magistrate Faith Magusti. June McLennan, aged 28 of Lot X, Durban Street, Wortmanville, pleaded not guilty to the charge, which states that during the period of July 17 to September 10 in Georgetown, he tried to obtain through false pretense the sum of $400,000 from the virtual complainant, Latoya Janet June Whitehead. Attorney Patrice Henry appeared before the defendant. Henry noted that his client has no previous convictions and pleaded with the magistrate to grant the defendant bail. Michael Grant, the police prosecutor, had no objections to bail and told the court his facts are as charged. Bail was granted a sum of $200,000 on the condition that the defendant report at the CID headquarters every Friday at 9 hours. McLennan is expected to make another court appearance on April 9. In case you've just joined us, you're watching the Evening News. Stay tuned for news ahead. This is the Evening News and you're tuned to TVG. 4 persons, including the pilot of a PA-32 Piper single-engine aircraft, were on Tuesday air-dashed to the city after the aircraft that they were traveling in crashed when it took off from a remote interior airstrip. More in this report.
In what has been described as nothing short of miraculous, the 4 men who were on Monday involved in an aircraft accident at the Aru airstrip in the interior were air dashed to the city with varying stages of injuries. The men were identified as Ivor Williams, Leon Bristol, Troy Daniels and Bernard Singh, arrived at the GPHC late last evening, and the ambulance they were in was immediately flogged by family members and curious onlookers as they attempted to catch a glimpse of the survivors.
All right, just sorry. Hold on. Oh, no, just say that. Good, there we go. It is how you go. Loose thing. Sure, get on there, man. Look at try here. You're talking like that. Go.
Ron, just hold the people.
This newscast understands that the victims were rescued around 1600 hours on Tuesday by the Army medical staff. The helicopter reportedly had to make 2 trips to the crash site to bring out the victims. However, the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority in a statement on Tuesday evening stated that the injured passengers were employees of Singh and they were on their way to another region when the accident occurred. Singh, the owner of the crashed aircraft, is also the owner of several mining camps in the interior. GCAA's statement also said that after the crash, the pilot of the privately owned aircraft bearing registration number N87619 made contact via satellite phone with the Rescue Coordination Center Timehri Control Tower. Investigators from the GCAA are reportedly at the crash site attempting to figure out what could have caused the accident. This latest accident marks the 3rd aircraft accident for the year 2014. This accident would come even as authorities say they are taking stricter measures to ensure safety at airports.
In the Swatlana Marshall report, we hear that the U Wooding Law School is mulling expansion following the ongoing concerns over the acceptance of Guyanese students to its law program.
Jamaican Queen's Counsel Jacqueline Samuels-Brown said the University of the West Indies Council for Legal Education has requested financial support to expand the U Wooding Law School in Trinidad and Tobago. This decision comes after CARICOM has requested that graduates from the University of Guyana Department of Law be accepted based on the availability of space.
Because we are expecting 300 graduates from the Faculty of Law, St. Augustine, to seek entry to the Hugh Wooding Law School this year. And as you know, by the treaty establishing the Council of Legal Education, University of the West Indies graduates have a right of automatic entry. Bearing in mind that we already have a population at the law schools now, at the Hugh Wooding Law School, of over 400, and bearing in mind that the law school was built to accommodate less than 200 persons, we have to be mindful of the safety and the health issues. We also have to be mindful of the availability of teaching staff to guide and train our students who are enrolled.
Samuel Browns, however, noted that the recent request by CARICOM following its heads of government meeting in St. Vincent and the Grenadines had caused some concern, emphasizing that the Trinidadian Law School has serious accommodation problems. Prior to CARICOM's intervention, the council had denied UG Law graduates automatic entry to the institution on the basis of space.
I therefore wrote to the Secretary General in response to a letter from him, and I also provided a brief to all attorneys general so that they could brief their heads of government. I traced the history of the problem. I indicated where we were now in terms of facilities and resources, and I asked the heads of government to consider the matter, and I put forward 2 proposals, either to provide the council with funding to undertake capital development at the law school so that we could expand the buildings, or to assist us to source interest-free loans.
The agreement between the University of Guyana and the Council for Legal Education expired in November 2012. However, it was extended until 2014 based on a request from the Government of Guyana. During the first meeting of the Council in February, the issue arose in the Council, but following heated debate, the majority on the Council voted against Guyana's request for the extension of the agreement, which dates back to 1999.
Back in the courts, Gregory House, aged 42, of Lot 59 Parfit Harmony, West Bank, Demerara, today pleaded not guilty to the charge of larceny from a person when he appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Magistrate Faith Magusti. It is alleged that on March 13 at Water Street, Georgetown, the accused stole one gold and diamond band valued $500,000, the property of Badrinath Siraj. The defendant told the court he's a taxi driver. House told the magistrate that he was walking in the vicinity of Stabrook Market when two plainclothes police apprehended him and stated he was wanted by one of the Georgetown police outposts. Police prosecutor Sion Blackman told the court the defendant was positively identified by the virtual complainant. Blackman also noted that the defendant has other court matters. Additionally, the prosecution went on to object to bail because of the seriousness of the offense and the penalties attached. Bail was granted in a sum of $200,000. The defendant is expected to make another court appearance on April 9. Residents in Blackbush Pole are urging the Guyana Power and Light to change rotted and otherwise hazardous electricity poles that are posing a threat to their lives in the area. Details in this report.
Residents from the Blackbush Polder are calling on officials at the Guyana Power and Light to upgrade the utility systems in the area. According to the residents, several reports were made to the officials at the Guyana Power and Light. However, they are yet to receive any favorable response from the power company as it relates to correcting the issue. One resident related that one of the defective poles poses severe threat to his family and property. He highlighted that on a previous occasion, flames had erupted from the poles, scorching his home. This scenario, he said, can cause someone to be electrocuted, especially if the children are playing within the range of live wires. Meanwhile, this newscast contacted the GPL's branch manager, Ayubi Bacchus, for a comment on the issue, and he gave all assurances that the situation will be remedied as soon as possible. He maintained that he is now being made aware of the situation and will dispatch a maintenance crew from the GPL as soon as possible. He also advised all consumers across Berbice that if they are not getting the satisfaction and services from the other offices located across the region, to visit him at the head office in New Amsterdam, as he will be able to address their issues and rectify them promptly. Leroy Bedler reporting for the Evening News.
This is the Evening News. Stay tuned. More news still ahead. Welcome back. This is the Evening News. Residents of Bush Lot on the Essequibo coast on Tuesday killed a snake measuring approximately 9 feet in length that was in a nearby trench. The snake, suspected to be an anaconda, or popularly called a camudi, was noticed by a villager who was riding along a street as it made its way out of the trench at around 14:30. At the sight of the large snake, the resident raised an alarm and summoned other villagers who gathered around the snake. A cast net was then thrown over it to prevent its escape, and the reptile was chopped and beaten to death. One resident, Faida Bacchus, said she was scared for her life because the trench, which was cleared of bushes some weeks ago, was infested with snakes and was dangerous to traverse, especially at night. The bridge across the trench is the main entrance leading to the new Anna Regina market. Children usually use the bridge on their way home from school in the evening. Residents said they are afraid since there are likely more snakes in the trench. The government, through the Guyana Rice Development Board, is working with rice millers across the country to have farmers paid millions owed to them for the last rice crop. Details in this report.
Plans are moving apace to have rice farmers paid over $300 million that was owed to them for paddy sold to millers in 2013. This is according to Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy. In a statement, Ramsamy said that the development would come after a series of meetings with millers and farmers countrywide. He noted that as of tomorrow, farmers can expect to start receiving payments from the millers for their rice. Speaking with Evening News, President of the Guyana Rice Producers Association, Liko Rambridge, said that the GRPA welcomes the initiative as it seeks to offset the debt of the millers.
He maintained that this move would definitely act as a caution for the currently troubled sector, adding that it will assist farmers in getting back into the fields as soon as possible. In the same vein, Rambridge noted that works in the reaping of this year's crops is well on the way and farmers are hoping to complete the process before the May-June rainfall. Last week, rice farmers in Essequibo had staged protest, contending that the prices being paid for their paddy this year is unacceptable. They maintain that they would be unable to survive with the current prices being offered. Leroy Bedley reporting for the Evening News.
Mikel Pereira, aged 37, of Lot 54 Oleander Gardens, today pleaded not guilty to the charges alleged against him in a Georgetown Magistrates Court before Magistrate Faith Magusti. It is alleged that on March 1 at Festival City South Rhymeville, Georgetown, the accused assaulted Christine Ramlagan, his children's mother. It is also alleged that on March 11, Pereira made use of abusive language. Attorney Paul Fongafat told the court that the defendant has an untarnished character. Bail was granted in a sum of $10,000. The defendant is expected to make another court appearance on April 9. The Guyana Sugar Corporation GAISUCO employees, who are members of the National Association of Agricultural, Commercial and Industrial Employees (NACI), have gone on strike over what they see as significant abnormalities in relation to the wages and salaries they are receiving. Let's find out more in this report.
Their actions came after a series of meetings, with the last being held on the 27th December 2013 between the Guyana Sugar Corporation, the Minister of Labour Dr. Nanda Gopal, and the National Association of Agricultural, Commercial and Industrial Employees (NACI). It was told to the union by the minister that the Sugar Corporation has to pay the union's workers what was owed to them. To this date, however, the Guyana Sugar Corporation has not made any attempt to pay the workers the monies which were owed. General Secretary of NACI, Kenneth Joseph, stated that the displeased workers decided to take the strike action. He stated that the move was fully endorsed by NACI. He further stated that the union is willing to fight the matter to the last.
The minister advised that we were right. The corporation knows that we are right. But I don't know if they don't want to lose something. They just feel that they can bully the workers of GAISUCO in NACI category. We will not sit by because we stay on it until it is resolved. We will stay with it forever. If we have to take it to court, we will.
NACI represents key categories of GAISUCO workers, including all clerical, medical, sugar boilers. NACI represents key categories of GAISUCO workers, including all clerical and medical staff, sugar boilers, laboratory technicians, workshop supervisors, foremen, and the head office staff at Ogle and at Labon Intention. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Gomiti Gangadin.
This is the Evening News. Stay tuned for sports, sponsored by MacCorp after the break. Welcome back. Now for a look at sport. In the headlines, Narain and Smith lead West Indies to warm-up win over Sri Lanka. Elizabeth Style maintains commitment to Berbice cricket, and Jagan Memorial Cycling to touch Essequibo on Sunday. Of course, our sportcast comes to you with the kind compliments of MacCorp.
How would you like to get the parts you need at unbelievably reduced prices? For 3 days only, come to our yard sale and choose from thousands of factory fresh parts and used surplus equipment at prices worth shouting about. Visit our Providence location from March 21st to 23rd, starting daily at 9 a.m. Check our website or Facebook page for more information. MacCorp, let's build Guyana together.
Welcome back. Now for a look at the details. We start off with some cricket news. A polished half-century from Dwayne Smith, followed by a splendid bowling effort from Sunil Narain, ensured the West Indies defeated Sri Lanka by 33 runs in their second and final warm-up match of the ICC World T20 in Dhaka. Smith's 45 balls 60 and Dwayne Bravo's 43 powered the Windies to 172 for 5 after they were sent in to take first strike. Narain then grabbed 4 for 24 and Bravo snared 3 for 29 as the Sri Lankans were dismissed for 139 with 4 balls remaining in the innings. Only opener Tilakaratne Dilshan got going with 43 from 36 deliveries. The victory was the West Indies' second in the warm-ups, having defeated England by 7 wickets. The West Indies, defending champions, having won the title in 2012, will play India in their first game of the competition proper in Mirpur. Albion Community Centre will have the opportunity to defend the title they won last year when the inaugural Elizabeth Style Under-21 cricket competition was staged in the ancient county. Bisans Trading, the local distributor of Elizabeth Style cosmetics line, confirmed its sponsorship of the event for the second year at a press conference in the studio of the NCN on Homestretch Avenue. Let's find out more in this report. The tournament will feature 16 teams battling for supremacy in a knockout format, according to Berbice Cricket Board's secretary, Bibi Alisa Munsi. The champion team will pocket $60,000 in a trophy, while the runner-up will receive half that amount.
We're very delighted that Elizabeth Style has once again come on board for 2014, as we celebrate our Golden Jubilee. The Elizabeth Styles Under-21 tournament would feature about 16 teams and would be played on a knockout basis. Among the teams that would be participating shall be Blairmont, Bushlot, West Berbice, Burramine Young Warriors, Albion, Rosaltown Youth and Sports Club, Port Morant, Upper Quarantine and Skeldon.
The competition will attract some of the bright prospects for Berbice and Guyana cricket, including West Indies under-19 players Gurikesh Moti and Shimron Hetimaya, Kevin Ramdin, Kandasamy Suraj Narain, Brandon Prashad, Sean Pereira, Shailendra Shamir, Lyndon Austin, Jamal LaFleur and Joshua Ramsamy. Munsi said the BCB is thankful for the support given by Elizabeth Style to not just the upcoming competition, but other events organized by the board. Proprietor of Bisans Trading, Bisundayal Singh, said apart from investing heavily in Berbice, Elizabeth Style has sponsored competitions on the east coast of Demerara as well. Singh, who is the president of the East Coast Cricket Board, said Elizabeth Style has been impressed with the professionalism of the BCB executives and their management of cricket, hence a decision to renew sponsorship of the Under-21 competition for another year.
We wish to commend them on the way how they operate, and as well, where I see it's very, very professional. We at Elizabeth Style are very confident that this tournament is going to be a successful one. Berbice always in the past has proven to be very good at managing and administrating cricket.
The competition will bowl off shortly. And finally, some cycling news. The Essequibo Coast roadways will be buzzing with activity on Sunday when the third and final leg of the Cherry Jagan Memorial Cycling Trilogy is staged from 9 hours. After successful events in West Demerara and East Berbice, the organizers are hoping for a triumphant end to the 2014 races, with the country's leading riders set to face the starters' orders. National coach and chief organizer Hassan Mohammed told his newscast today that all systems are in place for what is anticipated to be a competitive day of cycling. When action pedals off at Supernam, then proceed to Charity and return to Anne Regina for the finish, participating riders will aim to join Michael Anthony and Alonso Graves as winners of the 2014 races. Anthony copped both the senior and junior titles on the first leg in West Demerara, while Graves split Pauline Nobriga in a tight sprint finish to cop the East Berbice race. Come Sunday, the Nobriga will look to go one step further and retain the senior title he won last year in Essequibo in a time of 2 hours, 17 minutes, 59 seconds. And with that, we've come to the end of sport. Of course, you can find these and many more stories in tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times. And here's an invitation to join us in TVG Channel 28 and in Radio Guyana Inc. 89.3 in Essequibo, 89.5 in Georgetown Environs, and 89.7 in Berbice and Unicary, Suriname. Stay tuned, your Bridge Reports in Ghana.
How would you like to get the parts you need at unbelievably reduced prices? For 3 days only, come to our yard sale and choose from thousands of factory fresh parts and used surplus equipment at prices worth shouting about. Visit our Providence location from March 21st to 23rd, starting daily at 9 a.m. Check our website or Facebook page for more information. MACORP, let's build Guyana together.
This is the evening news. Welcome back. Now for a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed on Thursday, March 20 at 5 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. And the Berbice River Bridge will be closed on Thursday, March 20 at 6 hours 15 for a period of 1.5 hours. And with that, we've come to the end of the evening news for Wednesday, March 19, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.